Our story. Who are we? We are the People's Zoom Readers Theater, a beautifully diverse group of people who are interested in a few things: combating hate and injustice, learning from each other about our differences, and enlightening our audiences through drama about our shared humanity and the benefits of creating and performing together. Usually, we express our thoughts and feelings through a drama that focuses on a particular topic. Tonight, the topic is us, our story. Who are we? And what we would like you to know about us.
I'm Mark. I'm a Libra. Libra is the sign of justice, balance, harmony, and the human ability to connect with others. I like all that. I am human. I'm a good person. I try to be. I'm worthy of being happy. I'm worthy of love. But why did it take me so long to realize this? You see, I was the fat kid and the gay kid, although I didn't know that gay part just yet, just different, uncomfortable in my own skin. I was made to feel that something was wrong with me. As a kid, I kind of knew that, well, that I was different. I just didn't know why. What's funny is that the other kids seemed to know what was different before I did. Fairy, queer, fag. Ouch, ouch, and ouch. I'd even hear from my mom, why do you want to go play ball with the other kids? Why do you spend so much time in your room? That's not normal. What's wrong with you? So, of course, I became afraid of my own shadow, my abnormal abomination of a shadow. But let's forward a few years. Time to go to college. I'm first generation college goer in my family. So, as scary as it was, my college experience was wonderful. There were people like me. Wow. Close friendships developed, professors that encouraged and celebrated my achievements. I felt like I mattered. Mansfield State College had such a personal impact on me. So I eventually made higher education my career. And what a wonderful career, what an inspirational career it's been. But those old tapes from my young years can still play a number on me. Still lots of work ahead. After a few sessions, as my therapist was getting to know me and our time together was becoming more intense, he said, do you know what's wrong with you? Do you want to know what's really wrong with you? With bated breath, I was finally going to find out what was wrong with me, finally, after all these years. He paused, he stared at me, and then he said, nothing, nothing is wrong with you. As the tears were just rushing out of my eyes and pouring down my face, he tossed a box of tissues across the room to me. And through my tears, I took one look at the box and I tossed them right back to him. And I said, these aren't my brand. He replied, he says, you cover a lot of your pain with your humor, you know. But actually, folks, I really do love to make people smile and laugh. Life eventually had changed wonderfully, thank goodness. In 1996, I was so fortunate to find a wonderful mate, a loving husband. Dan and I spent 25 years, 1 month, and 10 days together. I was so proud of him, the man he was, the teacher he was, our marriage, our shared life together. Losing Dan to cancer in 2021 broke me, nearly destroyed me completely. I actually researched best ways to die by suicide. But through the love and unwavering support of friends and family, I learned to find gratitude. Gratitude is what saved me. I eventually realized how lucky I was and still am for having what I did. I've grown so much in so many ways. Since then, I've opened my heart and my mind to new people and new experiences. And my new independence has given me a new confidence. I have confidence that this act two of my life will indeed have meaning and purpose, and I'll make sure it happens on purpose.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I will begin with a quote from the famous Jewish sage, Rabbi Hillel. Rabbi Hillel said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, who am I? If not now, when?" My name is Amy Blum. I grew up in a suburb of Philadelphia as a practicing Jew. I would go to synagogue often on the Sabbath with my family. I attended Hebrew school 3 times a week, after school and on Sundays, so that I could learn about Judaism and also learn the Hebrew language, which is quite difficult as it has its own alphabet and it is written from right to left. I also lived in a kosher home, meaning my family followed the dietary rules of eating only meat slaughtered according to Jewish law, not mixing meat and dairy products, and not eating shellfish, among other rules. As I got older, I decided to continue to learn the Hebrew language and laws and teachings of Judaism, so I enrolled in a bachelor's program at a local Jewish college called Gratz College. I had studied there for grades 11 and 12, and then continued and received a college degree in Hebrew literature. At the same time, I earned a master's degree in social work at Temple University, hoping to work in the field of Jewish communal service. This basically means working for an agency or program which serves the needs of the Jewish community. This I did, beginning by creating programs for the Jewish students on the campus of Temple University at an organization called Hillel, which is the Jewish organization still found today on most college campuses. After that, I worked in many different facets of the Jewish community. I served as the program director of Delaware County's Jewish Community Center, bringing a love of Judaism to the Jews in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, through various programs. One of my more interesting jobs was being the director of Holocaust programming for the Jewish community of Philadelphia. I worked with the Archdiocese, and together we coordinated symposium for high school students throughout Philadelphia and the suburbs, offering them the opportunity to hear firsthand from Holocaust survivors and address topics related to anti-Semitism. I became friendly with the representatives from the Archdiocese, which to me was very rewarding. I also organized a creative and visual arts contest where middle and high school students submitted their creations based around the theme of the Holocaust. Finally, I coordinated the annual Holocaust Remembrance Memorial Ceremony, held every year at the Holocaust Memorial on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia. This ceremony was attended by survivors, their children and grandchildren, the general public, and dignitaries. It was a very important, moving, and special project. My next job was serving as the Jewish program director at a local Jewish community retirement home called Martin's Run. Working with the older generation afforded them the opportunity to share with me their greatest Jewish memories, while also participating in fun activities, highlighting what the Jewish community had to offer today. Finally, I have served as an afternoon Hebrew school principal and teacher and Jewish day school teacher for many years. What all of my jobs had in common was sharing my love of Judaism with others. As the wife of a rabbi who served as a spiritual leader of a local congregation for over 30 years, my concern is for the future of Judaism. Today, many synagogues are having trouble attracting members, especially from the younger generations. I hope that I was and will continue to be able to spread some of my love for the Jewish religion and its traditions and practices to the younger generations, hoping that they too will understand how rewarding and enriching practicing Judaism can be.
My name is Lucy Weiss, and I am blessed because I am 81 years old and I have been married to my best friend for 59 years. We were so happy when our children, Alyssa and Jonathan, were born. Sadly, Jonathan passed away when he was 37 years old. His son, Jacob, was 5 years old when his father died. Today, Jacob is 18 years old, and he is a wonderful person, possessing the best qualities of his father. Growing up was not always easy for me. My younger sister had many special needs, and my mother, who dealt with depression, had difficulty coping. My sister got a lot of attention, and as the so-called normal one, I was often on my own. This led to shyness and low self-esteem. I always wanted to be a mental health professional. And when I was 50 years old, I went back to school to be a marriage and family therapist, leaving 2 other professions behind. I felt that I could make a real contribution working with young children and their parents, so that the parents know the importance of dealing with their issues and not passing those issues down to the children. Also, working with women with depression and low self-esteem, I felt I made a real contribution. When I retired, I worked as a volunteer at a women's center that dealt with domestic abuse. Often, women who are abused have low self-esteem and need to see the strength they have, which can be very empowering. Moving from Pennsylvania to California last year to be near our daughter, son-in-law, and 2 grandchildren was a good one, and we are enjoying so many new opportunities.
Hi, my name is Michael Weiss, and at my age, I'm lucky to be alive and kicking and still have my wits about me. I've been living the good life with loving parents and grandparents, a fabulous wife, terrific kids and grandkids. I grew up in the family hardware store in Elmhurst, New York, where I really learned to appreciate the skills of craftspeople who came into the store. However, I went on and I received a BA degree from Long Island University in Brooklyn, and then went on to earn a PhD at Purdue University. I spent my professional life as an academic and worked with individuals, teaching people to work with individuals with speech and language disorders. I guess I've always been interested in fixing things. You know, it's in my blood, I guess. As an academic, we moved around a fair amount. I worked at different universities. So we lived in Cleveland, Ohio, Washington, D.C., Omaha, Nebraska, and Philly. Recently, as my wife Lucy had mentioned, we moved to California to be near our daughter and her family. That was a big decision. So far, we've been through 2 earthquakes since we moved to California, and I thought the decision to move is what would shake things up. Foolish me. Although my life has been full of good fortune, there have been times of misfortune and regret as well. The greatest is the loss of my son, a really wonderful person with a heart of gold. He loved championing a friend in need and would give you the shirt off his back. He was funny, he was loving and smart, and he died too soon. A light went out in my life when he passed, and the void that he left could never be filled. So what then has been there for me to move on with? His son, for one thing, our youngest grandchild, who has all the best characteristics of his father. And then my daughter and her two kids and my son-in-law. Wow, they are all so unique with their own special talents, creativity, and especially love, caring, and humor. The grandkids are coming into their own as they reach young adulthood. You know, I hope I live long enough to get an inkling of what they will become. But this aging thing comes with no guarantees. You know, yeah, I've had anatomical parts failures and some replacements. This old body is wearing out. But that, after all, is the nature of nature.
My name is Angelica Doncheva, and let me start with a famous quote from Mother Teresa. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. This quote resonates deeply with me, especially as someone raised in a family that bridges two distinct cultural backgrounds, Ukrainian and Macedonian. An interesting fact is that Mother Teresa was also Macedonian. Nonetheless, just as a child cannot choose between loving a mother or father more, I felt an equal belonging to both cultures. This sense of unity and shared heritage shaped the vision of my future. Being in high school, I already knew that in my career journey, the first step I'm taking is a bachelor degree in international relations. From the very start, I carried a clear purpose into those lecture halls to become someone who would build bridges between cultures, countries, and people. At that time, I felt a unique sense of both responsibility and excitement about the role I could play in fostering cultural understanding and cooperation between two countries. Along with this path, I started to admire traveling and have been fortunate enough to visit 25 countries. Each trip has expanded my horizons, making me appreciate people from different cultures and things that unite us all. Whether I'm navigating the busy streets of New York City or exploring peaceful landscapes in Austria, every experience reinforces my belief in our shared humanity. As I move forward, I'm guided by the belief that people understanding that we can create a more peaceful world. And the quote from Mother Teresa is a constant reminder of why I'm dedicated to this path.
I'm Daria, and being an international is a monologue about me, a Middle Eastern woman leaving everything behind to come to the US to get her PhD and change her life. When I was packing my life in 2 suitcases, I thought living in another country would feel like, like falling from the 100th floor of a 60-story building. I know that's such surreal, but such terrifying. And well, I was wrong. This cross-border existence is getting up with countless broken bones after that collapse. You try to put your bones back in place, with your bare hands, with no painkillers, but you just can't get up off that ground. You see other people with the strong, unbroken bones passing you by. They walk, or, oh my God, look, they even run or play freely. And that's the moment you realize you are different. You see them with maybe fewer traumas and more joy. And well, it feels like you are centuries behind that life. The journey of living is you placing your broken bones after a crash, without any anesthetics, without any crutches, when just seeing people are just walking by you. But it's not just the bones, you know, it's the language that sticks in your throat like a sharp-edged stone. The words that used to be so easy, now they come out in fragments, like puzzle pieces that don't fit together anymore. And that silence when you don't speak, oh, it's heavy. It's heavy. It's like a weight you carry everywhere. But you know, they always say, hey, you'll adjust. But what they don't tell you is that adjusting feels like learning to breathe in a vacuum, you know, gasping air when no one else seems to notice the lack of oxygen. And then there's this loneliness, that subtle creeping shadow that follows you even when you are surrounded by people. You might never be fully alone, you know, but somehow you've never felt more solitary. All the sounds around you, the laughter, the humor, all those conversations, they are a blur, like music from a radio station you can't quite tune into. I know you hear it, you hear the music, but are you really a part of it? They don't tell you that homesickness isn't just missing home. It's actually missing the version of you that existed there, or talk, or just simply how to be. Anyway, yet somehow you keep going, piece by piece, day by day. Sometimes you manage to snap a bone back into place, you know, and other days the pain of it all, the pain of the distance, the struggle, it knocks you right back down. But even on those days, you realize that maybe, just maybe surviving this, surviving being an international, is making you stronger. You may not walk or run or play like the others just yet, but you are learning to crawl, and that's something. To all my brothers and sisters who left home in search of growth, maybe the crash doesn't define you. Maybe the bones heal differently, and maybe you are building a different kind of a strength that doesn't look like theirs, but the one that's yours.
I'm Xiuming too. I cried when I first saw you. Another girl. My mother tells me whenever she is upset with me. At first, I thought she cried out of joy, but what she really meant is, I'm a disappointment. I'm the second child and second daughter of the 5 children. When I was growing up, my mother talks a lot about having sons. She needs to have at least 2 sons so she can be a proud daughter-in-law. And she can have someone to hold her urn during her funeral. She needs to have at least 2 sons in case something happens to one of them. Sons will have big responsibilities when they grow up. So they cannot be bothered with little things like house chores. But the unknown heaven and urn tradition, for that one funeral day, they can't even see. My parents chose to raise boys and girls differently and unequally. When my first brother was born, my parents had a big reception where friends and relatives came to celebrate their first boy after 3 daughters. During the reception, my parents walk around announcing they are holding a ticket to Western Heaven. Now they have a boy. The day I received my master's degree in MBA in financial management and marketing, I called my parents. My mother was in tears. For one moment, I thought in my head, finally, my mother is proud of me. She then went on and said the most disgraced phrase all Taiwanese daughters dread: pigs are not growing, but dogs are fat. Pigs translate to valuable assets in the old agriculture society, while dogs are house guards that have no value. Of course, she'll follow with, from now on, you need to support your brothers to get higher degrees than you because they are boys. A few years later, my daughter was born. The moment I saw her, I fell in love with the most beautiful little thing that just came out of me. I cried out of true joy and with a lot of love. That's a moment when I realized my mother had chosen to hurt me, because hating your own child is against nature. She has chosen to demolish her daughter's self-esteem and dream. Hating her daughter is a choice of hers, and she didn't have anything to justify her wrongful behaviors.
Well, I'm Alexis Gerard-Finger. Thank you, Schumann, for sharing that with us. I know it was very difficult. It's touched all of us. But I think your message to everybody is such an important one. And I know for a fact you are the best mother any mother could possibly be. And so thank goodness your daughter has you for a mother. Well, when you get to be my age, your memory isn't as good as you wish. You remember the moments like this. Well, you remember the moments that brought you greatest joy and the greatest pain, physical and emotional. You remember your embarrassments, your faux pas, and your relative successes. You remember the forks in the road, and you review the decisions you made. But most important, you remember and reflect on the people, all the people who have occupied almost every inch of space in your head and your heart. In my case, it's my exceptional parents. I was very lucky, just the opposite of what Schumann told you. I remember my parents, my brothers, my life partners, my sons and their spouses and their children, my grandchildren. Each one, I'm so fortunate to say, has been a genuine gift I have never, ever taken for granted. I also reflect on my friends, my extended family, who have added a significant dimension to my life, especially now that I'm retired and I have more time to enjoy them. You know, quite frankly, not everybody needs to have anything more. But since I can remember, I always needed a purpose. Most fortunately, I found that purpose as an educator, a teacher of international students, first in New York at John Bowne High School, where I became a pioneer. That's how old I am, a pioneer in the field of English as a second language. And then at Drexel University, where I primarily taught oral communication skills for international students. I helped prepare Drexel's teaching assistants to teach at Drexel. I facilitated a drama club and then created a reader's theater, open to anybody in the Drexel community who shared our mission of combating prejudice and injustice through drama. Throughout my 50 years of teaching, 42 at Drexel, I've been blessed with awe-inspiring students who have educated me and expanded my world in ways even the most traveled people I know have never experienced. My students have demonstrated the importance of being open-minded to the different backgrounds we all have, and demonstrated the extraordinary creative possibilities available when working together. As a result of the pandemic, I retired from teaching at Drexel, but with the enormous help of Yvonne Liu, an extremely smart, talented, and beautiful young woman from China, the Readers Theater continued on Zoom. Together, we named our group the People Zoom Readers Theater and opened it up to anybody who shares our mission. Yes, we lost the unique in-person connection that we had at Drexel, but Zoom has provided opportunities to expand our membership and audiences to an even more diverse group of people than possible on Drexel's campus. And that is exactly what we are doing today. I feel privileged to have the chance to continue to make a difference, even at this late stage of my life. And I thank each of you who is making this possible.
I'm Denise Henry. Thank you for your consideration. I think I must have typed this about 400 times during my never-ending job search after a long hiatus from the outside workforce. 21 years to be exact. Our family's decision for me to be a stay-at-home mother and homeschool our children, that is now unregrettable. But then, I must say, was rewarding and challenging. Yes, we were seen as oddballs. At times, with one family reminding us what year we were in, as if we stepped onto the planet shell-shocked and fully clothed with our alien costumes. Yes, living on one income meant living frugally, sacrificially, but we found joy in our want and trusting God to provide for us. And there was a great community of support, but not at first. Raised eyebrows, skeptics, sometimes. Our big homeschooling family was an unusual sight and lonely at first. But our homeschool co-ops were a social lifeline for our family as we developed lifelong friendships along the way, journeying together through parenting and shared life learning experiences. It was a beautiful season. One by one, our children transitioned to outside school, and the necessity of going back to work was imminent. But wait, how? There was my huge employment gap and sporadic freelance writing gigs. Hence, the avalanche of no's to my incessant requests for career opportunities. So many tries, tears, and fears over several years. Then finally, yes. From substitute teacher to development director to unemployment to corporate marketing to unemployment to yes, I had a lot to learn about sustaining employment. Biggest lesson? It's okay to fail. That's how you learn. I learned. I asked hard questions to get better. Thank you for your consideration.
Hi, I'm Maris Eckert. I was born in New York City in July 1948. When I look back upon my life of 76 years now, it's hard to believe, I realize how fortunate I have been. That said, as life would have it, while I've experienced incredible joy, I've had my share of pain and challenges. When thinking about what to write for my story, I decided to start at the beginning and focus on the impact my European grandparents had on me. My paternal grandparents immigrated from Poland in 1920, while my maternal grandparents arrived in 1921 with little more than, as the expression goes, the shirts on their backs. Their first children, my parents, were born soon afterward. They spoke their native languages and also spoke Yiddish, a dialect spoken by Jews across Europe. They identified as Polish and Russian, but even more, they identified as Judaism is more than a religion. It's also a people, a culture, and a shared history. Jews who came from Central and Eastern Europe were and still are referred to as Ashkenazi Jews. My grandparents created lives in this new country with its different culture and language. My sister, brother, and I grew up in New York City, living within close proximity to both sets of grandparents. Sundays were spent visiting with and enjoying dinner with our extended family. Our grandparents often spoke of their lives in Europe. Now, so many years later, as I reflect upon their stories, I have so many unanswered questions. They told us about the struggles they faced living as Jews in their homelands. They showed us pictures and told us about the family they left behind. And they let us know how fortunate they were to come to America. They installed in us the importance of family, education, hard work, and keeping our traditions. I can still hear my grandma say, you must attain a high level of education. They can take everything away from you, but they can't take your education. They knew they had to leave the persecution they faced in Europe. They were the lucky ones. The Immigration Act of 1924, also known as the Johnson-Reed Act, restricted immigration from Eastern and Central Europe. Anti-Semitism in Europe escalated, and then Hitler came to power. We all know the horror of how that period of history ended. In the meantime, Jews trying to flee were denied entrance to every safe country, including America. Just by chance, my family was spared, while 6 million Jews perished. We were the lucky ones. As a child and young adult, I was well aware of anti-Semitism. I had friends whose parents were survivors and had numbers tattooed on their arms. But I thought our society was making strides toward finally ending anti-Semitism. I was naive and wrong. Israel was recognized as a country in May 1948, the year I was born. Never again would Jews be homeless. Tens of thousands of Holocaust survivors rebuilt their lives in the newly established State of Israel. Unfortunately, Israel has fought numerous wars against Arab nations since its inception. Then on October 7, 2023, Hamas terrorists waged the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust. The horror was unimaginable. We have all witnessed violent attacks on Jews and Jewish institutions in our country. Suddenly, my grandparents' stories come back to me. Anti-Semitism hasn't gone anywhere. It is as alive as ever. I fear for my children and grandchildren, as my grandparents feared for us. As for the rest of the story, I was blessed to be married to the love of my life for 30 years. While his life was cut short at 55 years old, he left 3 amazing children. They have blessed me with 5 grandchildren. Life is good.
I'm Mike Moldavsky. I'm not that comfortable talking about myself, but since I'm a member of this very special online Readers Theater group, where all of you are sharing reflections of your lives, I want to give you a brief glimpse into my life. It was a long time ago that I earned my bachelor's and master's degrees of science and engineering. After attending high school on Long Island in New York. After completing my studies at Purdue and the University of Illinois, I started work on my PhD at the University of Maryland, but never finished this degree. Marriage and a yearning to see the world would lead me down a different path. 20 years later, I would again think about continuing my doctorate education. But for me, it was too late. During the years after college, my business trips and pleasure travels took me through all of Western and Eastern Europe, took me through the Far East and the Near East, and took me through Central and South America. I did travel a lot. Also, I lived for approximately 6 years in England, in Denmark, and then in Israel. During this time, I worked overseas for a consortium of companies that consisted of a number of American and European companies and was involved in air traffic control projects and aircraft co-production programs. First as a lead engineer, then as a manager, and finally as the director of international operations. My oldest daughter was born in England, graduated at Delphi University on Long Island and Copenhagen Medical School. My son was born in Denmark and graduated from William and Mary and Yale School of Economics. My youngest daughter was born in the USA and graduated from the University of Connecticut and Quinnipiac University School of Health Sciences. During my years overseas, I learned much about people, about their culture and their language. After approximately 20 years living overseas, I returned to the USA. I took a position in regulatory affairs with the pharmaceutical company Bristol Myers Squibb in Connecticut. In 2001, I started a software consulting company that specialized in solving compliance and quality issues in the pharmaceutical industry. Even though I am now retired, I still get consulting requests, but now they're unanswered. During this time, I divorced and remarried. For the last 18 years, I have lived a very happy life with Alexis. I am so lucky to have her in my life and to have my 8 grandchildren and my 2 great-grandchildren. Inasmuch as I enjoyed how my life played out, I am feeling the same enjoyment now in retirement. I feel that the world belongs to the next generation and allows me to sleep late each and every morning. I reminisce about the times when I was trying to make a difference in the world. But now I just enjoy the world the way it is. I have so much to be grateful for. Thank you.
Lovely. Hi,
I'm really feeling blessed this evening. I have just learned so many great things about each of you. So here we go. Good evening. My name is Brenda Bailey. I have always been interested in the performance arts. Since I was young, I would watch musicals on television, and I still watch musicals. I would watch musicals on televisions, and I would try to imitate Shirley Temple because she danced with Bojangles Robinson, and I was just scuffing up the floor with my shoes trying to tap dance. I would sing along with Judy Garland as we ran down the yellow brick road. My parents did not discourage me, but they would say, that is not the career for you. Education is the way to go. Being an obedient child, teenager, and adult, I went into education and taught middle grades for many years. Returning to Philadelphia, I was introduced to the People Zoom Readers Theater. I'm very glad to be performing with the People Zoom Readers Theater and do not have to memorize any lines nor dance. Thank you.
I wish you would dance.
Oh, yeah. I do too.
Hi, I'm Ginger, although my given name is Virginia. Around the age of 2, my father, who had recently returned from serving for a year in the Army during the Korean War, changed my nickname from Ginny to Ginger, as he got to know me again after being called to service when I was under a year old. He later told me that change was because I was full of vinegar. As I became a teen, it became clear that I loved the opportunities I had to be with children. And in high school, I joined the Future Teachers of America Club. My fate was sealed when every week I tutored a little girl from an underserved area in Philadelphia. I wanted to be a teacher. My husband Mark and I met in college, and he was on the same career path as I was. Him with an interest in history, me with training for elementary school. Entering the teaching profession was a natural, given both of my parents' backgrounds in education. While my mom did what many females did in the 1950s and became a homemaker, my dad enjoyed a rewarding career of 37 years at Penn. My years as a teacher, school administrator, wife, mother to 3 children, and now 5 grandchildren, all boys, have been all that I could ask for in this life. Family is everything. As I continue to work part-time at Friends Central, where I've worked for over 4 decades, I'm aware that growing up in a loving home, which included my maternal grandmother, parents, and 2 sisters, impacted my view of the world and how I wanted to move in it. I can still hear my gram telling me, be ye kind one to another. Respect for and kindness toward all people were expected. And as a parent with Mark and a classroom teacher, these 2 qualities to this day remain. Raised in the church, these were the teachings of Jesus that mattered most to me. I reflect often on my immigrant great-grandparents who left their countries of origin not due to persecution, but rather poverty, and how their courage to do that impact the opportunities for future generations in my family. I recognize my privilege as an individual in the American majority, a majority that is thankfully changing and making room for the richness that people of varying races, religions, identifications, and thinking bring. I know that my years at Friends Central have left an indelible mark. The Quaker belief that there is that of the divine in every person Therefore, we hold up and celebrate the differences in people. To my thinking. Sitting on my bureau is a verse framed from the Bible, Micah 6:8. A reminder each day of what's important. Love kindness, seek justice, and walk humbly. I also hold on to the oft-repeated quote by Martin Luther King Jr. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. May we have patience as we wait for evidence of that justice being served in our country and around the world.
Hi, I'm Margaret Taylor, and anyone who knows me knows I'm extremely loquacious, but I find it very difficult to talk about myself. So here's just a short little outline of what I can comfortably share. I'm kind of bookish, but I'm not a nerd, nor am I an intellectual. However, I have always enjoyed reading. My earliest memory is of reading with my parents piling on the bed on a Sunday morning, with my father especially, my mother and my brother, to read what we then called the funny papers. My father read every type of print media there was at the time. And although we had a very difficult relationship, we shared a love of reading. As a child, I cherish walks to the Widener branch of the Free Library of Philadelphia. I am a lifelong Philadelphian. The librarian often allowed me to borrow adult books. I read very well, followed by a delicious wine cake from a bakery called Schilling's, which was at the corner. The library was in the middle of the block. Fast forward to a 36-year career as head of circulation, various branches in the Free Library of Philadelphia. Then 4 years as an administrative technician in the Philadelphia Welfare Department, and 2 years as an income maintenance caseworker with the Pennsylvania Department of Welfare. Post-retirement, I spent 8 years volunteering with ARP Experience Corps as a team leader, helping children in grades K through 3 to attain basic literacy skills. Today, I am very proud to be a member of the drama-based social literacy platform, PZRT, People's Zoom Readers Theater. I am extraordinarily grateful for this opportunity because I am surrounded by such wonderful people. And one of the things I do pride myself on is having surrounded myself with the best kinds of people ever. And I count all of you among them.
How beautiful. Wow.
Hi, I'm Sabrina from Maine. I'm a faculty at the University of Maine. I'm originally from Shandong province of China, the hometown of Confucius, the famous Chinese philosopher and educator. My parents and grandparents have always treated my education very seriously. They always encouraged me to read and write. After graduation from China, I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to study at Drexel University. And I was an international TA, teaching assistant, and that's where I met Alexis. She is my first teacher in the USA. And she introduced me to the world of culture, art, musicals, movies, books, etc. More than 15 years have passed, and we still keep in touch. And now she introduced me to this wonderful community, warm and supportive. I'm so grateful for this. So I want to end with a quote by Barbara Dillingham. Life is not a path of coincidence, happenstance, and luck, but rather an unexplainable, meticulously charted course for one to touch the lives of others and make a difference in the world.
How beautiful.
Perfect.
Well, that's what we have, but now we have opportunities for others to share your story. I feel very blessed. As you can see, we are among some very special people. And we have some with us tonight who helped start this on Drexel's campus. I see Toby's right here. I hope you're going to share something. And I know that Diane Mills would like to speak. And anybody else, and Donna's here, anybody else who would like to share your story, this is the moment. We are all very grateful that you're with us tonight.
All right, Lexus, I'm getting ready to do mine.
Okay.
I am Diane Mills, a mother, granddaughter, aunt, niece, friend, neighbor, advocate, and a child of God. A resident of West Philadelphia, a co-facilitator of West and Southwest Reading Captains, a proud member of the People Zoom Reading Theater, a warrior dedicated to literacy and helping children become fluent readers in Philadelphia, a 2019 recipient of the Community Celebrity Award with Cabot Creamery Cooperative, a catalyst for change, one who has a love and a compassion for the community, believes that all things are possible if you believe. Most importantly, I am who God created me to be. I am who He says I am. I am Diane Mills. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Toby, would you like to share something? I have to unmute.
I know. Sure. And thank you, Diane, for that tribute, really. And thank you all. Thank you all for bringing me to tears and bringing me laughter and reminding me of something I said in one of our first Readers Theater gatherings when we were all sitting around a room, about 15 of us, in the English Language Center, room 119. No, it was whatever. It was one of the special rooms that Alexis taught in. And I looked around the room and I said, this is what the world should look like. People of all different faiths and all different backgrounds and all different ethnicities and all different ideas and all different interests and all different family groupings. We should all be sitting in a room all the time together sharing. And looking around the room here, I know that Alexis has continued that. And I have continued that as well in my life. I worked at Drexel for 27 years with Alexis, sharing that pleasure and honor and privilege of meeting people from all over the world and being taught by them. And I wrote my first song about one of my students. And so I am a songwriter, a musician, an artist, a dancer, a writer, liturgical arts, Jewish liturgical arts leader, an activist. I don't know how many protests I've gone to in the past few weeks, but I know that there will be more. And I am hopeful that because of people like you, this world will be brought to a peace and that there will be change you are the change that we want, right? We are the change that we look for. So I am sitting here in awe of all of us who do this work from all our different vantage points, but really for the same purpose. The purpose is to live in peace, live together, live in laughter, live in joy, live in justice, and live our lives as we want to live them. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
Amen. Thank you.
I think all of our minds are just spinning. You know, we know each other, and our guests here tonight, you know, have hopefully, you know, got a great understanding of this great group. And even though we work together, we continue to keep getting to know each other deeper and deeper, and all the different layers. And you know, it's just amazing. I'm just amazing. So proud to be here. Really, so proud and honored. And honored.
We're honored to have you, Mark.
Mm.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it was a wonderful exercise, that, Alexis. Great idea.
Thank you. Well, I think it was just great hearing from everybody. As I said, we're missing a few more people, but I know it's difficult. Everyone's busy now, but whoever could be here today, we're very grateful.
So Alexis, so if I may say, share a song that came out of someone's sharing about the arc of the universe. The arc of justice is long, but it bends towards the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So a few years ago, I'm in a group called Voices Rising Philly, which is a group of people that formed in 2017 because we wanted to figure out what should we be singing now? What should we be singing now? And we came together and we wrote songs, we found songs. A lot of people are writing songs that you can sing now at protests and rallies for social justice. And it's been a great honor to me and a great joy to be with them, because it's a way for me to know that I'm making a difference in the world by singing. So I thought I would share this. It goes, and you can sing along with me, even though you have to be on mute. It goes, the arc of the universe, it bends, oh, it bends. The arc of the universe, it bends, oh, it bends. Oh, the arc of the universe, it bends, oh, it bends towards justice. And so do I, towards justice. And so do you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I know Barbara and John have been doing some singing. Would you like to share anything with us?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm just soaking it all in. Thank you for all of your sharing of your stories. And yeah, there's an expression in Quakerism which is the friend speaks my mind, which is basically means I don't need to add anything else because somebody else just said what I was feeling. And that's after Toby spoke, reflecting on the joy and the privilege of being here with you all. I just felt the friend speaks my mind and sings my mind too. I'll say that too. So thank you all. I tried to catch almost every one of your performances. And so I feel like I've come to know you over the few years. And but today was special. Yeah, it was special. So thank you so much. It was
Thank you.
a chance to be to feel hope again. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Feel hope. When you're with people like this kind, you feel there's hope. Yeah, exactly. So. Okay, anybody else before we say good night?
Yes, Lexus. I just want to say I didn't come to the taping, but I just feel that there was a healing tonight from the performance. That people wouldn't ordinarily talk about it, but they were able to write about it and to release things. And I think when you release things, there's a growth spurts that will take place. So you're no longer holding things that kept you down. And it's amazing just to, because I didn't share a lot of things about me, but just to hear some of the things that you're going through, that there is hope. There's also a time for change, and it's a time to get things done so that we can help other people come out of what we've been through and what we shared. So, it's like a village. I think we just did a village thing tonight, and that's the thing that's going to keep us going. So just to sharing the testimonies and how you survived, the turmoils. There's always going to be conflicts. There's always going to be tribulation. There's always going to be trials, but it's how you handle it and how you survive it. That's what counts.
So true.
You all agree. Well, everybody, again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm honored to be a part of this wonderful group of people. And just a reminder of that Toby was a pioneer and Barbara made this possible. The two of them made it all possible on the Drexel campus. And Yvonne couldn't be with us tonight, and she made it possible for us to continue on Zoom. So,
And you make it happen.
Yeah.
it's my pleasure. Have a good night, everybody, and keep the faith.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
And
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.